Today, we're digging into the incredible transformation of a city you probably think you know. We're talking about Pattaya. And trust me, its story is changing in a massive way. It's all about what's happening far beyond the beach. Okay, let's just be real for a second. When I say Pattaya, what's the very first thing that pops into your head? Because for decades, that city has built a very specific, and let's face it, very powerful reputation. For a lot of people, it probably starts right here. You know, the sun, the sand, that beautiful coastline on the Gulf of Thailand. It's been a go-to holiday spot for ages. And then, yeah, of course, there's the nightlife. The go-go bars, the clubs, a party scene that pretty much never stops. It's famous for it. Or maybe infamous, depending on who you ask. In fact, it's a reputation so strong, it even earned the nickname the Sin City of Asia. Now, that identity, which really grew out of its time as a rest and recreation spot, has defined Pattaya for a long, long time. But just hold that thought for a minute, because what if I told you the new picture of Pattaya has way less to do with beach parties and a whole lot more to do with corporate boardrooms and billion-baht deals? Yeah, this is where things get really interesting. The whole strategy, the big bet, it all comes down to something called the MICE Master Plan. And we're not just talking about a fresh coat of paint here. This is about building a completely new economic engine for the entire city. So, what in the world is MICE? Well, it's an acronym. It stands for Meetings, Incentives, Conventions, and Exhibitions. Basically, it's the high-end, big-spending world of business travel and events. And that is the future Pattaya is betting its entire reputation on. So why go all in on MICE? Well, think about it. These aren't your typical tourists. First off, they spend a lot more money. They also book their trips way, way in advance, sometimes up to a full year. They stay longer. And here's the kicker. When they go home after a great conference, they basically become free advertising for the city. It's a huge economic win from every angle. And the muscle behind this whole thing is the EEC, the Eastern Economic Corridor. You gotta understand, this is a massive government initiative, a huge special economic zone designed to just pump investment and innovation into this part of Thailand and turn it into an absolute powerhouse. Okay, so that's the plan. But how do you actually build it? Well, that brings us to the next part, literally building a new city. And the scale of this, it's just mind-blowing. We're talking about a level of development that is completely unprecedented. Get ready for some absolutely giant numbers. The government is pouring more than 126 billion baht, that's billion with a B, into 14 enormous infrastructure projects just to remake this city from the ground up. A huge piece of this puzzle is the local airport, Utapao. They're upgrading it with one goal in mind, to handle an incredible 60 million passengers a year by 2030. That is just a colossal jump in capacity. And how are all those people going to get around? Well, with a brand new 220-kilometer high-speed rail line. It's going to link Utapao with the two major international airports in Bangkok. The whole idea is to create this seamless, world-class connection. And because of all this, a totally new skyline is starting to take shape. I mean, we're talking about plans for the single largest hotel in all of Southeast Asia, a massive new convention complex, a whole bunch of new 5- and 6-star luxury hotels. And get this, something they're calling a unicorn jungle, an innovation hub that wants to be Thailand's version of Silicon Valley. But look, a change this big, this ambitious, it never happens in a vacuum. Which brings us to the clash of the titans. This is Pattaya's incredibly tough fight to grab its own piece of the spotlight. And you have to see Pattaya as the scrappy underdog here. It's trying to go head-to-head with heavyweights like Bangkok and an absolute global champion like Singapore. If you look at the scoreboard, reputation, airports, public transport, Pattaya is playing a serious game of catch-up. You know, this quote really nails the challenge. It comes down to two big things. First, its brand just isn't there yet on the world stage. And second, it still has to prove to everyone that it actually has the skills and the infrastructure to pull off these gigantic, complex international events without a hitch. And all of this, all the concrete, all the steel, this breakneck pace of development, it leads to a really important question. Can any of this actually be sustainable? Is it possible for Pattaya to become this shiny new business hub without destroying the very environment and local culture that made it special in the first place? So, where is all this heading? What is Pattaya's final form? Let's take a look at what this completely reimagined city could become. You can almost feel the ground shifting under your feet. The city's focus is moving from go-go bars to convention halls, from wild beach parties to professional esports arenas. The ideal visitor is no longer the backpacker, it's the business delegate. This is a city evolving from its fishing village roots into a high-tech unicorn jungle. And that's really the heart of it all. The mission is to completely shed that old, cheap tourist destination label for good. The goal is to become the premier, high-value spot in all of Asia for big business and world-class entertainment. Which leaves us with one last, really fascinating question. After all the new buildings are up, after all the money has been spent, and after the global rebranding is complete, can a city truly engineer a new soul? That right there is the billion-baht question at the heart of Pattaya's future.